All right, hello everybody. This is Daniel Barrett from AdWords Nerds, and I want to make this quick video because I have a lot of investors that are reaching out and asking me about the recent Facebook settlement in their case with the ACLU. So if you haven't heard about this news, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on exactly what's happening. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're seeing in the Facebook ad ecosystem and what I think the likely fallout of this settlement is going to be. And then I'm going to talk about what you as a real estate investor can do to keep your online marketing for motivated seller leads going and going strong. So let me just share, I'm going to share real quick. This is an article that was in the LA Times. And essentially what happened is that the ACLU opened a lawsuit against Facebook alleging that the ways that people that advertise in real estate, and this isn't just real estate investors, but this includes realtors and lenders and basically every part of the real estate ecosystem, that the ability that those people had to change their targeting based on demographic information, like for example, the gender of the people that would see the ads or the age or the zip codes, that actually opened the door to significant discrimination. For example, I could decide not to show housing loan ads to zip codes that I knew, for example, to be a majority minority community, or to people that I thought were too old, or whatever, whatever the thing could be. Now, this is largely, I think, a hypothetical situation. I'm sure there were situations where some of the targeting was, suspect. But I think largely this is a case of just saying, hey, this tool, because of the way that it exists, opens the door to things that are clearly illegal when considered against the Fair Housing Act and things like that. So that was the lawsuit. And in that lawsuit, basically, Facebook agreed that in real estate specific scenarios, they were going to dismantle a lot of their ad targeting options. For example, zip code targeting, age targeting, gender targeting, that kind of stuff is going to be not okay to do anymore. It's essentially going to be not available within the Facebook advertising system. So that's what's happening. Just so you know, most of these changes, I think Facebook in this article says most of these changes are not going to go into place until the end of the year, which is, as I'm filming this, we're just heading into spring. So we're talking about the end of 2019. But based on the way that Facebook has updated their ad systems in the past, what we can probably expect to see is rolling changes. So we'll probably see some changes relatively quickly. We'll see other changes rolled out more slowly, more gradually, that kind of thing. So that's what I fully expect to see. So what does this mean for investors? Well, as if you are a real estate investor that has used Facebook to generate leads, or you've thought about doing it, or you've done some of it in the past, it's likely you've used some of these demographic changes, these demographic targeting options, right? It's very common to use zips, for example, to target the areas that you want to invest in. It's very common for investors to use age-based targeting when they're looking for people to have a certain amount of a certain amount of equity in a mortgage, that kind of thing. So this is going to directly affect, I think, how most investors find their leads on Facebook. So it is serious. It is going to be a pretty serious change. Now, is it the end of the world? I think it kind of depends for you. Whether this has a massive, massive effect on you is going to depend on a few different things. And to be clear, we have seen pretty extensive Facebook changes in the past. A lot of you will remember that you used to be able to target, people based on their credit scores and stuff. And there were all these third-party data sets in Facebook ads. Facebook got rid of those when during the whole election thing. And so Facebook advertising in general has come under a lot of scrutiny, and there's been a lot of changes up till now, and there's going to continue to be a lot of changes. So this is not anything new in its essence. The online marketing world is essentially all change all the time. And I think if you want to do this kind of marketing and you're depending on this kind of marketing to generate deals for your investing business, you got to be aware of that. You got to be on top of that. You got to be okay with that. That's just a part of the process, right? Now, what do we do about it? That's the question. And I think it all comes down to how exactly this is going to play out. There are multiple methods that investors use right now to find motivated sellers online. One is list-based targeting. So, for example, Facebook is saying in this settlement that, hey, like you can't come into Facebook and say, I only want to target people in this zip code. But they haven't said whether they are going to allow you to simply say like, well, okay, I just got a mailing list of everyone in the zip code, and I'm going to upload that mailing list to Facebook, have Facebook match that audience on Facebook, and then show ads to them. Right now, you can do that. You can take any mailing list you have, match it up with Facebook's data sets, and show ads to your mailing list. This is something we do for our clients all the time. In fact, anytime a client comes on with us and they're going to do Facebook ads, we say, give us your most profitable mailing list. We're going to target it online. So Facebook hasn't said whether that's going to be wrapped up in this, because obviously at that point I'm bringing my own data. I'm not using Facebook's data. So that's a little bit unclear. Same thing with lookalike audiences, these kind of like custom audiences tools within Facebook. It's just really unclear what's going to happen with them, how much they're going to be affected, whether they're going to be affected or not. I will tell you what we are doing for our clients. Essentially, our focus for the last 2 years has been on what we call the multi-channel lean methodology. This was basically the methodology we used to cobble together different channels to find motivated sellers. This all started because, the company I run is called AdWords Nerds. We started off primarily or really only as an AdWords company, but when costs in AdWords rose, we're like, well, we have to adapt to that. AdWords is still the best channel for us, but in terms of cost per deal acquisition, all that, but we had to adapt, right? So we started building in Facebook, started building in Bing, started building in YouTube, started building in Google Display Network ads. And we developed this multi-channel lead methodology, which is this idea that we generate traffic from lots of different sources, because that way we can find the cheapest little bits and just use the whole rather than depending on one channel for everything. And so if Facebook is your primary marketing channel, this is going to really, really affect you. If it's one of many, the likelihood of it really disrupting your business a whole ton is pretty low. So this is something that I am very passionate about and preach about a lot. It's this idea that you can't just have a single marketing channel. I think that goes without saying. Second thing is Facebook for us primarily, right? We've been using a lot of retargeting in Facebook. So we will tend to generate traffic via cheaper channels and then retarget in Facebook. And I don't think that retargeting is going to be affected by this at all. And so if you are using alternative traffic channels, these kind of less common, less competitive online marketing channels, in order to generate traffic and then retarget it on Facebook, you can still target people based on the zips that you want, right? And then target them on Facebook without actually going through Facebook's targeting tools. So that's kind of a way around this. The third thing I would say is just that Facebook depends on advertising revenue. They need advertising revenue. Real estate is a giant market. So I think they're going to give tools that are going to mitigate some of this cost to the people in our industry. But I don't know what they are yet. I don't think Facebook knows what they are yet, really. So it's just going to be one of these things where we're going to enter a period of rapid change and adaptation. So it's like anything else. You got to be out there testing things, seeing what works for you, seeing the different sort of ad types and stuff that Facebook gives you, looking at your Facebook settings and saying what's new here, just trying to stay on top of it. If you don't really do that, or don't know a whole lot about it, I run a free Facebook group. It's called the REI Marketing Nerds Facebook group. You can just type in REI Marketing Nerds, or I'll put a link to it in this post. You can join that group for free. I post there every single day about what's going on in the online marketing world for real estate investors. I also have a podcast. Those are really good ways to we'll stay on top of it and let you know what's happening, so you don't necessarily need to worry about it. And then the final piece I would say is just to remember that it's times like this where opportunities open up. anytime there's change, there's going to be people that are left behind, and there's going to be people that adapt to that change and actually make a ton of money out of it. It's like one of those ironies of everything, but especially real estate investing, right? Where the worse the market gets for other people, a lot of times the better it is for a real estate investor. And it's the same exact thing. We've been through a bunch of these major online marketing disruptions over the past 5 or 10 years. And if you can stick with it and figure out what's going to work for you, there's actually a huge opportunity to make a lot of money. And so I would encourage you, like, don't panic, don't freak out, but don't take your eye off the ball either. We definitely won't. And we'll see what happens. So like I said, I'll put a link to the LA Times article that I posted here as well. And then I'll put the free resources that you can get to stay on top of this stuff. And let me know if you have any questions, pop in the comment. I'd be happy to help out. All right, this is Daniel Bear from AdWordsNerds.com signing off. Go get some leads and appointments. Cheers.